May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer.
Amen.
There are a lot of reasons we come to church. We come to get inspired. We come to find pardon and peace. We come to find relief and receive comfort. We come to make a connection with something that is greater than ourselves. But how about this as a reason to come to church? We come to write our names in history. I have no illusion that in 50 years, people will be still talking about how great Tom Callard was as the 8th Dean of Christ Church Cathedral. People will have mainly forgotten about me. You will think about me as you head to the Kendrick Room, because presumably there'll be a photo of me up there with the rogue gallery of other deans next to Jim Monroe and Dean Wepley and Dean Eckel, in good company. But mostly people won't be thinking about me, and that's okay. I do still, though, want to make my mark in some small way. That's important for me. It's important that in 50 years, when I am resting in the loving arms of the God who gave me this life, that I will have helped make the light of Christ Church Cathedral shine along with the rest of you. Because in 50 years, if we're going to be a place of light, if we're going to be a beacon of hope, if we're going to be a place of God's love still shaping lives for future generations, it will only be because I have helped to make it so and you have helped to make it so. And this is greatness in church. Greatness in church is passing something along to other people. That's how we write our names in history. None of us would be in this building if the generations before us had not passed this space on to us through capital campaigns. If they had not improved it, if they had not shaped it and molded it for their future. I think that the people of previous generations would not have imagined what this worshiping community looks like today. The fact that there's a woman here in front, the fact that we worship in Spanish, the fact that we are fully integrated with the LGBTQ community, the fact that we have immigrants here and that we minister with and serve and live with people who are experiencing homelessness. I don't think the previous generations would necessarily have foreseen all of that, but what they did foresee was that they would have in the future, they wanted to have a worshiping space that was beautiful and functional. What they did know is that in the future they wanted to have a seat for the bishop, and that they wanted to have some place in the downtown Springfield where God could be served. And so they gave us this building. Some gave a lot, and you can see the names of people like James Ripley, who are throughout the sanctuary. The Brewers, the Stevenses, the Millers are in the windows in the back. They gave to the building, and that was great. And you see, if you walk around, you see various names written here in the cathedral, but that's not the same as writing your name in history. Writing your name in history is something that happens for every single person who gives a little bit to the light. Not just the big donors, but everyone who gives a small amount to a capital campaign. Those who gave small amounts in the past to purchase this land. Those who gave small amounts to build this building. Those who gave something small when they wanted to install heat. Imagine being here without heat, without the phone, without the internet, without lights. All of that someone made possible. Those who wanted to install a fire alarm system. Those who it helped so that the space below us wasn't just a little 2-foot space, but a big room down below us. Those who gave a generation ago to the Opening the Doors campaign that helped install the elevator. And of course, those who helped build the organ. You know, there's a chart that lists every little pipe that was given by someone in a capital campaign. And when we walk here, and when we sing here, and when we pray here, and when we feel the heat, and when we ride the elevator, when we look at the lights, when we hear the organ, we are hearing the voices of heaven and of thousands of people who, just like us, gave to a capital campaign in their day when someone just like me came before them and asked them to. We come to church for a lot of reasons. We come to be inspired, we come to get relief, we come to get comfort, to find pardon and peace, and we come to make contact with something that is greater than ourselves, but we also come here because here we have the chance to plant something that will last, something that will give to future generations a spiritual home, just like previous generations have given to us. Our 2022 capital campaign officially begins this week, and we're asking you to give to this campaign. You will have received a mailing from the church, or if you haven't yet, you will, or if you don't, let us know. There are materials available after the service. The work of this campaign, not the active pledging, that's going to wrap up in a couple months, but the work that's going on into this campaign is going to go on for a couple of years. And we started about 18, 20 months ago when the leaders of your cathedral realized that this building needs some key repairs. Things like our friendly organ, like the windows back there, like the fire alarm system, things that are really pretty important, need some updating. But beyond that, your leaders of the cathedral also realized that the vision of the cathedral needs to be made wider, and that through this space we can widen the vision. We can put artwork here that is not just reflective of those worshipers here in the past, the beloved Ripleys and the Stebbenses and the Moores and the Brewers, whose images naturally reflect the white people that they were. We would love to have artwork that's reflective of who we are now, multicultural artwork. We would love to have artwork that reflects the people who are in our pews. And we can broaden our vision for the undercroft. You know, for a while, they were trying to figure out what to do with the undercroft, and at one point they actually talked about making it parking, which would have been drive in and then drive out. It would have been very interesting. Right now, it serves us and our members. It serves 12-step groups. It serves as a place to give out food. It serves as a place for people to drop in and receive support and coats and blankets and snacks. What if we can use it more for the community? What if we can use it more for our own needs by making a few changes to the airflow down there, by cleaning it up a little bit, by fixing the entryway which goes from the undercroft out to the parking lot so it is safer and cleaner and more modern? What if we can reinstall the shower that used to be there? What if we could actually make money renting our space like a lot of churches do when they rent out their halls? There are so many possibilities for this capital campaign, but it needs our support. In the gospel today, from Luke, Jesus is talking about support. This whole idea of blessings and woes, or blessings and curses, actually comes from something long before Jesus. Back in the day, the blessings and woes were part of a legal arrangement of support that existed between a king and people who wanted protection from that king. So a group, a village, would get together, they'd go to the king, and they'd enter into an agreement which laid out all the blessings the king would give them for supporting the king, all the ways the king would be there to fight for you. The king would give you food if you need, the king would defend you, the king would preserve you. All of these were the blessings for entering into this agreement. But when the king comes calling and you don't support the king, then come the woes. Then come all the ways that you are cursed. Blessings are for those supporting the kingdom, and woes are for those not supporting the kingdom. And so Jesus today is our king. And he's talking about the kingdom, and he's explaining who in his kingdom is blessed, the people who through their lives are supporting his kingdom. Who in his kingdom is not blessed, because they and their lives are not with them. And so we see, as always, Jesus' preferential treatment for the poor, for the hungry, for those who are weeping, for those who are persecuted and hated and excluded and reviled. And that's his kingdom, and those are his people. And then on the other side, there are those who receive woes. These are the people in one way or another who Jesus does not feel are necessarily supporting his kingdom. And these are the rich and the full and those who are laughing and those of whom people are speaking well. And so perhaps, like me, you would say, well, Jesus, it's not necessarily bad to be rich. There are some good rich people. It's not necessarily bad to be full. I mean, you fed thousands of people. You helped them be full. It's not necessarily bad to laugh. What do you have against people who are laughing? What's this all about? And at its heart, what I think it's all about is who is supporting Jesus. Because those who are rich and those who are full and those who are laughing may be the least likely to turn to Jesus. I know when I feel rich, when I feel full, when I'm happy, I'm not thinking of other people. I'm not thinking of you. I'm not thinking of the poor. I tend to be self-satisfied and complacent. Does anyone else here get complacent from time to time? Who is complacent? It's these people who are in one column in Jesus' kingdom. Everyone else just kind of disappears. I don't think about God. When do I think about God? When I feel poor, when I feel hungry, when I'm in sorrow, when I'm in need. You know, in many ways, this is when I'm the best Christian. These are the moments when we're the best Christians, when we are poor and hungry and in sorrow and feeling persecuted, because these are the times when we turn to the King. Jesus knows his people. He knows when we are in need of him and when we tend to support him. So in this capital campaign, I'm not suggesting that you give to the capital campaign as a way of buying Jesus' blessings. That's a sin. But I'm suggesting that giving to this capital campaign helps break up the woe of complacency, helps break up this woe of being short-sighted and of thinking of ourselves alone, because we want to think about that child who one day is going to sit in one of these pews and hear that organ. We want to think about all the people who will come into this space, and thankfully, if there's a fire, we'll be protected. We want to think about people coming in and going out of the Undercroft. And these are people you and I will never meet. But in our short-sightedness, we're not thinking about them all the time. We're thinking about ourselves and the fact that we are rich and full and happy. Jesus is asking us, and we are asking you to support the kingdom. And there are many ways of doing it. But from my perspective, for me to write my name into the history of Christ Church Cathedral, it comes by supporting this capital campaign. We want to support those who have brought us to this place. We want to support those who will come after us. But mainly right now, we want to support Jesus today. Right now, we need to fix the organ. Right now, we need to do some work on the windows. Right now, we need to update the fire detection system. Right now, we need to make upgrades to the Undercroft. And right now, we want to value our diverse community through art. And right now, we need to shine. Our world needs light, and it needs hope. And we think that this capital campaign and the goals that we have presented in it are part of that light and part of that hope. It will create blessings all around as we give. So I pray that your name will be with mine. I'm not making a huge donation, but every little bit helps. We have until April 20th of this year to pledge. So as you pray and think about how you might give, we invite you to imagine that you too are part of this amazing chain of history, which began 2,000 years ago, which is living in this space right now, and which will carry this space into the future. Amen.